What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today we're going to be taking a look at my picks for the top 5 duos in modern age Heroclix. I really wanted to do this list now because we are supposed to get a bunch of new duo figures in Disney Plus next phase and the upcoming Deadpool Weapon X set. So hopefully we get a lot of cool duos in those sets, and I'd like to see how they shake up the list, you know, in maybe 6 months to a year. Maybe we'll get some other ones, but we do have a lot of awesome duos already. So without further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, so starting us off at number 5, we have Lex Luthor and the Joker. They're originally coming out of the World's Finest set at 200 points or 75 points, but then they got a Legacy card in Batman Team Up to make them 150 points or 50 points. They have Gotham City Underworld, Injustice League, Legion of Doom, and Metropolis keywords, so you know, pretty good selection there. You know, with a lot of the new villains we got in Notorious, there's some cool teams you could make. They have this trait that we'll see on a lot of these characters that when they are KO'd by an attack, before removing them from the game, you may generate a character named Lex Luthor and or a character named the Joker from your sideline on their last non-KO clicks, then heal them each 2 clicks. The total points of the generated characters must be equal to or less than Lex Luthor and Joker's point value, and if they're 50 points, then you can only generate one of the 2 characters instead, protected Pulse Wave. So it's really nice that you get to replace them when they're KO'd with like an injured version of them. And you know, if you're playing them at 50 points, the only option you have is the common Lex Luthor from Notorious. If you're playing them at 150, you could probably pop out both of them pretty easy because, you know, you only have the 50-point Lex Luthor, and then pretty much every Joker is under 100 points, so pretty easy to get both of them. And I would definitely recommend getting the Deceased Chase Joker because, you know, when he'll heal up, and then he'll, you know, if he gets KO'd, he'll go to his zombie dial after that, and then it'll be, you know, even more of a pain to deal with. So definitely want to try to snag that Chase Zombie Joker for the sideline option for these guys. But then you also have Traded Mastermind, and if there's no opposing character within range and line of fire with the Batman or Superman team ability, then Lex Luthor and the Joker have Safeguard Outwit, so that's really good. There's honestly not a lot of super good Batman and Superman team ability characters right now. There's a few for sure, a couple you might see in a random game here and there, but you know, just in general, it's a little bit rarer of a team ability since DC doesn't get as many sets. So you know, odds are pretty good in most games they will just be Safeguard Outwit the whole time, which is really strong. Then I love their movement power here that gives them sidestep, and when an adjacent friendly character is given a move or power action after resolutions, you may place Lex Luthor and Joker adjacent to that character. If you did, once per turn after resolutions, they may make an attack. So that's like just a free attack. It's not even a free action. You know, somebody just moves or takes a power action to use hypersonic or running shot or something, and then you just place them next to that character. They get a free attack, then they can still take an action to attack, which is really strong. They also have Perplex, but instead modify a combat value plus or minus 2, and adjacent friendly characters have the Superman enemy team ability. So that's super good, and we don't really get that team ability a lot, so if you don't know, it just has free. If this character is adjacent to a friendly character of lower points that can use this team ability, it can use Outwit until your next turn. So, you know, handing that out to everybody means that only the lowest point character on your team won't be able to use Outwit. So you can have a ton of Outwits. Unfortunately, they only have that at the first 2 clicks of their 150 dial and the last click of their 50 dial. So that's why I really like them a lot better at 150. You know, you have that awesome sidestep and placement power, so you can just place them, get a free attack, and then shoot again, and then you just rely on the Mastermind to save them pretty much. And, you know, they got good stats there, 11 for 4 penetrating, double perplex, you know, plus 2 or minus 2 perplex, so they could get themselves up to a 13 attack easy, or a 9 range if need be, whatever. So they're really, really strong at 150. I think you almost have to play them at 150 if you're going to play them. That's kind of the only downside here. The 50-point line is just, you know, kind of a cheap little prob piece, but they're not really doing a whole lot else. You know, they'd be Safeguard Outwit, they'd have Mastermind, they'd be able to pop out Lex Luthor if they're KO'd. They got Prob, which is nice. But besides that, I think if you're going to play them, you're going to play them for sure at 150 points. They're just doing a ton for the team at that point, handing out the Superman enemy team ability to everybody next to them, and you know, you got plus 2 or minus 2 perplex. They're making free attacks every time somebody next to them moves and places them, so really, really strong. I think the only downside is that you basically have to play them at 150 points. And I think they're actually really good in Silver Age too, because we just lost the Lex Luthor super rare from Wonder Woman, who is a really, really good option to pop out That was pretty much the only reason they were actually really good at 50 for a little bit, because that Lex Luthor is like 25 points, and when he comes out, you know, he comes out on his last click, heals 2, and he has like 2 specials that when they're first revealed, you generate a bystander, so you actually heal him up past those and generate both bystanders immediately, so you get a ton of value coming out when they're KO'd at 50. So if you're playing them in silver, 50 points is still good if you have that super rare Wonder Woman 80th Lex Luthor to put on the sideline. And you're definitely going to want to have the deceased Joker zombie right now. So yeah, I just really like everything they can do. It all seems to work out pretty well, and it's really good and stuff. So for all those reasons, they're coming in at number 5. All right, coming in at number 4, you guys have probably forgot. I almost forgot about them myself. Here we have the, yes, technically still modern age Power Man and Iron Fist duo. Now, a lot of you might remember this sculpt from the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, but no, this is actually the, it's like a WKO prize that never really got released for a while because of 2020 and everything that happened then. So these guys came out, I think we didn't get these until like 2022 Worlds or something. So yeah, that's why they are still modern age. And these guys are actually pretty great. They have Avengers, Defenders, Heroes for Hire, Marvel Knights, and Celebrity keywords, which are all pretty good keywords right now. Then they've got this awesome trait that says, at the beginning of your turn, you may turn Power Man and Iron Fist dial to the same click number of another color. If you do and turn them to a red click number, generate an Iron Fist bystander and KO any Power Man bystanders generated by this character. Or if you're turning them to a green click number, generate a Power Man bystander and KO any Iron Fist bystanders generated by this character. So they kind of have a little bit of a pick a power, like pick a dial thing there going on, which we've seen before on some characters, even in fact on the regular super rare version of these guys. So you got 2 different dials here, and at the beginning of each turn you can swap between them, which is really neat, and they're only 50 points. They have the Spider-Man team ability, which I'm pretty sure when they were designed was, you know, wild card. But nowadays gives you super senses on a 6 or +1 if you already have it, which in my opinion is what makes them so good. Because Iron Fist here has 6 movement hypersonic, 11 precision strike for 2 damage with a 19 super senses and the Spider-Man TA. So he's going to have a 4 through 6 senses with a 19 defense for only 50 points. And if you're on this, let's say you start here on the red one. So if you turn to the green one at the beginning of your turn, then you're going to get that Power Man who has Sidestep, Quake, Invulnerability, and a 3 damage with Close Combat Expert. So 11 for 4 up close, pretty good. And then if you switch back, then you'll have the Iron Fist bystander with the Charge, Precision Exploit, and Combat Reflexes. So either way, not bad. Their point value is 0, so it doesn't matter if they get KO'd ever. Which is really nice. And yeah, it's just nice to flip-flop between them. You know, I would probably try to stay on the Iron Fist dial the whole time for that 19 super-duper senses. But having the option to switch to Charge, Super Strength, you know, with 3 damage, you know, picking up with the new terrain rules too. These guys, you know, we didn't have really any use for Super Strength when these guys came out, so the new terrain rules are great to be able to pick up a big hunk of terrain and smack somebody with it for +2 damage with the giant reach that it might give you. So yeah, really cool. I like him at both. You got a little healing there with Flurry, Steel Energy if you need it. And, you know, just being able to swap between them and keep generating bystanders. If your opponent keeps killing the bystanders, it's like, whatever, just make a new one. But yeah, I really like them a lot for 50 points. I think a lot of people probably forgot about these guys. They're definitely slept on at the moment, I think. And a lot of the new rules changes have really upped their potential a lot since they released. So definitely take a look at Power Man and Iron Fist. They are still modern age, and they're great. So for all those reasons, they're coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, Batman and Catwoman. Another figure here that is a little bit slept on, in my opinion. I know one of my good friends is a huge fan of this figure. He used to play them all the time. But they're great. I wish I could play them more. I keep building teams with them and then, you know, just barely taking them off for something that's like slightly better, but they're still super, super good and definitely worth checking out here. So they've got Batman Family, Gotham City Underworld, Detective, and Martial Artist keywords. Improved movement for elevated and characters is great. Traded sidestep and combat reflexes, and opposing characters within 6 squares and line of fire can't use sidestep. Like, what? That's so good. I don't know why people don't use them more just for that, because shutting off all of your opponent's sidestep within 6 squares in line of fire of them is pretty crazy. Then they have another trait that they can't be targeted by opposing characters occupying a square on a lower elevation. So besides the fact that they obviously have Batman ally and Batman enemy team abilities, for stealth, for the Batman ally team ability, they also can't be targeted if they're on higher elevation. So especially now that we can, just bring our own elevated terrain, you can just park some elevated wherever you want it, and they can just run up and sit on that. And, yeah, you run the risk of your opponent pulling it out from underneath you, but otherwise they can't target you at all. So that's really strong. And then they can just sit there and outwit stuff and shoot stuff. They do have a little bit of like 3 range, so they can make some range attacks. But mainly they have this awesome damage power that gives them outwit and prob control. And free, if they occupy hindering terrain, they use outwit and prob control an additional time this turn, which is absolutely nuts when you look at their points here. They're either 75 or 35 points. So yeah, they have pretty great stats up top for 75 with 12 charge, 12 attack quake, 18 super senses, 3 damage with the double outwit prob special, but they're still amazing at 35. They still have a 10 movement charge, 10 attack quake, 17 with willpower, and 3 damage with that double outwit and prob special. So they're still really strong at 35. They still have stealth. They still can't be targeted, by characters on lower elevations. They have Batman enemy, so they can copy attack values if somebody else next to them has that team ability. Double outwit and prob is just crazy for 35 points, and they're still shutting off all opposing sidestep within 6 squares in line of fire. Plus, they have traded sidestep and combat reflexes themselves. So just really, really ridiculous. And if you don't already have a better option for it, you can assign them the utility belt for free because they have Batman family. So boom, 0-point utility belt on them, gets them maybe some ranged combat expert, maybe some shape change, maybe some free smoke cloud, maybe some regen and support. There's a lot of amazing things they can get out of that utility belt. So yeah, this duo is amazing. They bring so much to a team for a mere 35 points. And if you guys have not tried them out, I would highly recommend doing so because they are a ton of fun and actually a really amazing figure. So for all those reasons, they're coming in at number 3. All right, but moving right along to number 2, we have Hawkeye and Hawkeye, the new convention exclusive from this last year of 2023, and these guys are amazing. They are one of the most fun figures that I have been able to play recently, and they are just so good. So let's take a look here. We've got Avengers, Shield, Young Avengers, Detective, Martial Artist, and Spy keywords. Then you've got the Shield and Avengers team abilities. So, the Avengers team ability is great to up their attack value, and besides that, Shield team ability can also help out the team some. Then they've got improved targeting for hindering characters and can make range attacks while adjacent, so they can see through everything but elevated and blocking, which is still really great. And I love this grapple arrow trait that says free, place Hawkeye and Hawkeye in a square of a different elevation within range and line of fire. Friendly bystanders named Kate Bishop can use this trait also. So really awesome. It's kind of like the wall crawler trait from Spider-Man, but that was only within 4 squares in line of fire. This is within range and line of fire, which they have a 6 range. So that's a lot better than even like a free TK. They can get 6 squares. And again, with being able to bring our own terrain into the game, you can place elevated wherever you want it. And even if your opponent is playing a map with no elevated, you can place a little piece of elevated within 6 squares of them, so they can just immediately hop up on that. And then they can running shot 4 squares with their 8 movement and shoot another 6. So that's map wide reach on their own right there. That's 16 squares that will hit their starting area, which is super nuts with triple target nonetheless. And you got 12 attack precision, 18 energy shield, and 3 damage with leadership, which just great top dial stats and powers. And one cool thing about them having that leadership actually is because they have the shield keyword and they are 50 or more points. So there is, the legacy Agent Coulson from Avengers Forever. He has the ability to just come in off the sideline whenever somebody with the shield keyword that's 50 or more points hits a 6 on leadership. So they are one of only like 2 or 3 characters right now that meet all those criteria to be able to roll that leadership and potentially bring him in off the sideline. So that is, whenever I play them, I like to have him on the sideline just in case they roll a 6. But they also have this amazing trait that makes them just over the top. Once per turn, when Hawkeye and Hawkeye make an attack after resolutions, they may make an attack. That's it. All there is to it. You You make an attack, you get another one for free. That's just so awesome and so amazingly good. And then at the beginning of your turn, Hawkeye and Hawkeye may generate a Kate Bishop bystander. If they do, they can't use this trait until Kate Bishop is removed from the game. So what's really cool, I like to just kind of run them up there, get 2 shots off. Next turn, get 2 shots off. On the 3rd turn, when they're double tokened, is when I like to pop out my Kate Bishop bystander, who is autonomous, so her actions don't count against your action total. She has pretty decent stats, 7, 11, 17, 2. But when she is generated, you give her a die showing any result, and Kate Bishop can use the standard powers printed on that click number of Hawkeye and Hawkeye's card that matches her die's result. And when she is KO'd, deal Hawkeye and Hawkeye 1 damage. Cool thing there is it doesn't say 1 unavoidable damage, so, you might be able to give them some toughness or something from some other effect and be able to kind of shrug that off. I know I did like playing them with the Prime Iron Man from Avengers 60th, who gives everybody an armor token for flight and invuln on top dial, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, they just have like a rainbow dial here where it just keeps getting all kinds of crazy power combinations. So whatever you need for your Kate Bishop, everything but click number 7. You can't obviously put a 6-sided die on 7, so she can't have Charge Blade's Battle Fury, but she can have anything else there when you generate that Kate Bishop. I feel like most of the time I either put her on the one with Sidestep, Precision, and Ranged Combat Expert on click 6, or one of the ones with Penetrating Blast with Ranged Combat Expert or Enhancement. So those are all great options, either Running Shot or Stealth. Like, there's so many just good powers you can pick there. Perplex and Energy Explosion and Sidestep isn't bad either. Like, just so many good options for the bystander too. So yeah, they're just super nuts. They can get full map reach, shoot twice with really high, stats and everything, really great power combos. And even on turns they're not shooting twice, they generate an autonomous bystander that can have pick a power. And yeah, they just do so much. They're only 75 points, which is pretty reasonable. Like I said, one of the few characters that can generate Agent Coulson from the sideline. It sucks that we got this figure right before Disney Plus when we got the new marksman keyword, because if they had that, it would really push them over the top. They could get the new arrow equipment for free, which would be amazing. Even paying the 10 points for that is still really good with them because they can make 2 attacks every turn. So don't forget that, that's still well worth paying the 10 points on them. But even without that, you could give them pumpkin bombs for energy explosion, or just leave them unequipped because they're still even good without anything on them. So I just really like them a lot. Full map reach by themselves and all the free attacks and everything is nuts. So they're amazing, super duper fun, and for all those reasons, they're coming in at number 2. All right, as always, before we get to our number 1 pick, we have some honorable mentions to take a look at. So I think this is actually just all the other duos we have in Modern Age, except for what might obviously be the number 1 choice at this point. But correct me if I'm missing any in this video. I will say that the Thor and Loki duo from War of the Realms was awesome as a legacy card. However, that's not Modern Age, unfortunately. Another one I really love is the Miles and Gwen convention exclusive from a few years ago. Also not Modern Age anymore, but I just want to shout those out. They're really cool. There's also Avengers Prime, which is like a triplet, so I didn't really want to count that as a duo. But those are all really great figures, and I just kind of wanted to give them a quick shout out. But anyway, we also have the Harley and Ivy duo from Batman Team Up. I believe they were originally from the Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls set. So they're actually not bad. They have the ability there that when they're KO'd, you can pop out a Harley and an Ivy. And they only have a 75 point line, so they don't have that restriction to 1 if they're at a lower point line like some of the others do, because they just don't have another line. But yeah, you got Charge, Flurry, Stealth. I think that's pretty great combo there. Poison, Smoke Cloud. Smoke Cloud is free, but only to generate 2 markers, and friendly characters within range have Safeguard Poison. That's not bad either. And then, if only they started with this special damage power, though, that would be great. They only get it like halfway through, but when they make an attack, you can modify their attack and damage +1 for each action token on all targets, which is pretty nuts. But they do need that buff later for sure. But I mean, they can do a ton of damage, pretty easily get a +3. So they'd be like 13 for 5 or whatever, or 6 even on that one. So yeah, not bad. And they have pretty good stats otherwise. So yeah, I mean, just perplex their attack up, charge flurry. They got stealth. They can just drop free smoke. They can copy a team ability. They get KO'd. You pop out a Harley and an Ivy. I think they're actually pretty good. All of these are pretty good. It was a pretty hard list to narrow down exactly which 5 I wanted to put in. Unfortunately, I don't have their legacy card. I'll throw it up on the screen for you, though. They're pretty good. They do have the option of either the Sinestro core or the Green Lantern ring for free, which was the main reason I almost put them at 5 instead of the Lex and Joker duo. I just feel like, you know, they're more points, and they also really need more of a team because they have that special that they get all the attack and damage powers of adjacent friendlies. But at 175, doesn't leave you a ton of room for extra friendlies that have a lot of good powers to copy. And with the hypersonic special, which yes, is amazing with the full map reach on their hypersonic special that gives you 2 attacks. I love that. However, you can't carry anybody when you're hypersonicking, so they can't get any attack and damage powers unless you move up your whole squad into position first before you run in with the hypersonic. So it takes a little more, forethought there. And like I said, 175 is just a really high point value for them that you don't get as much to work with for your team. And for 75, they just don't do like anything. I mean, they still get the free rings, which is awesome, and they're not bad range attackers, but they don't have any other cool specials, and they're really just relying on like maybe the rings to do some extra work for them, the constructs, that is. And yeah, I don't know. They do have the traded willpower that has potential to give them protected like outwit and perplex or whatever. So that's really strong. I think overall they're still really good, and I still think they're super fun, and I want to try them out. They're definitely way better than they used to be at 300 points, but I don't know. I feel like Lex Luthor and Joker are just a little bit better right now just because they're a little bit less points. You know, it's like they're already going to probably be safeguard outwit anyway, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. The ring thing is kind of one of the main reasons I like these guys. Plus, I'm a huge Lantern fan, so I kind of wanted to put them in anyway. But yeah, I just feel like they're just a little too many points. If they were a little bit less points, or maybe they had a part of their special hypersonic where they could still carry people so they could copy the attack and damage powers, that would be nice. But anyway, next up we have Iron Man and War Machine duo. Again, I love this duo, one of my all-time favorites. I'm a huge Iron Man fan, so I almost put them at number 5 just because of that. But they also have the trait here where they can pop out an Iron Man and a War Machine when they would be KO'd. I love their 9 range that can see through hindering, triple target, energy explosion, super good. And then they also have like traded energy shield that's protected outwit. And they also have a special willpower that succeeds on a 3 through 6, and they can heal a click, which is nice. So they'll probably be doing an action every turn, and they got a little built-in healing there. And Avengers TA is great for upping their attack value. And mid-dial, they get that awesome hypersonic special that also lets them make an attack after resolutions, just like the Hal and Sinestro duo. If they started with that, they probably could have been on the list. 180 points is just so much. And there's just some awkward combos for which Iron Man and War Machine you get to pull out. Because in modern age, we only have, the 95-point War Machine, which really doesn't leave a lot of options for Iron Man, although there are still some good choices. I think, honestly, the main thing is you'd probably want 2 War Machines, one to pop out for his own trait when this guy gets hit, and then one that pops out when they get KO'd. So you can have, that's the only time you would probably want 2 of those War Machines, because, that Avengers 60th War Machine has the ability to come out off the sideline whenever one of your Stark Industries characters takes damage from an attack. So that's really awesome. And then, like I said, when they're KO'd, you pop out another one. But yeah, I don't know. They're just a lot of points. Again, is really just kind of the downside there. They're a really strong range attacker. They're a ton of fun. Like if they had a lower point value or just some other things going on, maybe if we had some more War Machines to choose from would be nice too. I don't know. They're a lot of fun though. Again, like I said, all these are really great, and they almost all could have been in the top like 5th place or something. They're all pretty close. But yeah, Cloak and Dagger is the last one here. I think it's funny they accidentally put the wrong sculpt on the Legacy card. This is the actual one that it should have supposed to have been. But yeah, they're pretty interesting. You got Spider-Man and Team Player team abilities. So senses on a 6, or they got super duper senses in the middle of their dial. They can see through hindering. I really like this thing where they get +2 attack against opposing characters in hindering, and if they're not in hindering, they get +2 defense. So they're really strong if you got somebody next to them with defend, and if they're in, clear terrain, and if maybe they copy like a Sinister Syndicate or something, so they can copy attack values and, get up to like an 11 or 12 and then get the +2 from their own trait, will be really strong, 13, 14 attack, easy with penetrating blast. And they have a cool hypersonic and stealth special. The stealth is kind of anti-productive though, since they have +2 defense if they're in clear terrain. But stealth is also really strong. You just can't be targeted by range attacks anyway. But then they also have energy shield deflection. So it's like, they're going to have like a 20 defense from range either way. But they have this cool thing where when they hit an opposing character, they can't be targeted by their own friendly characters. So that's kind of funny. They can't like perplex and prob their teammate then. And then they have this cool energy explosion with precision strike. And if they occupy clear terrain and KO an opposing character after resolutions, heal them 2 clicks. So built-in healing is always nice. They have that special attack power on the back half of their dial. So they're pretty good too. I think, like I said, all these pretty strong, pretty good figures. I like all these awesome new duo figures. I do kind of wish they had a trait, though, that let them pop out, into a cloak and a dagger, or maybe like Power Man and Iron Fist, if they generated little bystander versions of themselves, would be cool too. But yeah, anyway, that's it for the honorable mentions. Like I said, they're all great. They all could have easily been in like maybe the 4th or 5th spot. I think it's really just the top 3, in my opinion, that are pretty locked for what I think. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of all these duos. But without further ado, let's get to our number 1 pick. All right, but coming in at number 1 for the best duo currently in Modern Age, I'm sure a lot of us saw this coming by now, but it is World's Finest, originally from the World's Finest set. And now, with the new Legacy card from Batman Team Up, they are far better than they ever were. So we'll take a look here at what they do in case you haven't seen it before. I've done a few team build videos with them because they're just so good. But yeah, they got Batman Family, Gotham City, Justice League, Kryptonian, Metropolis, Trinity, Detective, and Reporter keywords. So a ton of great keywords there. They've got the same trait here where when they would be KO'd, you can instead generate a Superman and or Batman on their last click, and then heal them 2. And if they're at 60 points, you can only generate one of them instead, Protected Pulse Wave. Then they also have free Make an Attack, but only to target an opposing character that since your last turn made an attack or used Outwit. So that's super strong, obviously. That's basically a retell on anything that attacked last turn. And lets them just make attacks every single turn, which is super good. But then they have another trait that when World's Finest would take damage from an effect of an opposing character of equal or less points than them, roll a d6. On a 4 through 6, World's Finest takes a maximum of 1 damage from that effect. So that's just ridiculous. There are already more points. Even at 60 points, there are already going to be more points than most opposing characters, even some of the best attackers in the game, such as, Carnage Silver Surfer. The only thing they really have to fear, in my opinion, is some of the great primes like Prime Spider-Man and Prime Camo. Somebody that can really come across the map and just one-shot them. That's the only thing they have to really worry about. Otherwise, they're pretty safe. They have a 50-50 chance of taking a maximum of 1 damage against anything 60 points and less, if you're playing them at 60. If you're playing them at either, 125 or 175, there are going to be more points than just about anything on the map, most likely. So yeah, it makes them really hard to deal with. But what's even worse is their defense power that gives them combat reflexes, invincible, and super senses, but increases the result +1 for each action token on World's Finest Protected Outwit. So not only is their special defense power Protected Outwit, it gives them 3 really amazing powers with combat reflexes, invincible, and super senses, and you get a +1 to your super sense roll for each action token on them. It's nuts. It does so much. It's like makes them almost impossible to hit because they do have stealth from the Batman team ability. They can see through hindering from Superman team ability. And yeah, they have that special on their last 3 clicks, which is their 60-point line, where they just have 9 movement charge, 11 attack, super strength, 4 damage with close combat expert. So, of course, they're charging in already with a 12 attack for 5 damage for only 60 points. And until they charge in, they can be protected from stealth. And, that means up close, they're going to have at least a 20 defense with combat reflexes, super duper senses most likely, and invincible. And if you get through all that, they still have a 50% chance of taking only 1 damage. So there's just so ridiculous what they can absorb. And the 7 range is really great too with the Superman TA to see through hindering. It really lets them just easily snipe somebody that made an attack or used Outwit last turn with their free attack. And in addition to all that, they have the Batman Family keyword, so they can also be assigned the utility belt for free. Just like I mentioned earlier with the Batman and Catwoman duo, it offers many great things like range combat expert, or shape change, or regen and support, or free smoke cloud, all kinds of things. Pretty much anything you land on is going to give them something good. And having Batman Family keyword makes it that much easier to land on whatever you want. Plus, they're a detective, which I forgot to mention with the last two being Hawkeye and Hawkeye and the Batman Catwoman. So they can actually take advantage of all of the, mystery cards we have available. And there's some really strong ones too, just like my favorites, the string of cat burglaries, where you just have to hit 3 times pretty much, and then you get +1 attack and damage on anybody that's equipped. It's super nuts. There's some other really strong ones, and there's some other really great mystery cards too. So yeah, they're just amazing. And I almost forgot, when they're KO'd, you can bring out either the zombie Superman or the zombie Batman, who are both really good. They have the zombie thing where when they would be KO'd, they turn to their zombie clicks, and then they have 3 clicks in a row where they take max 1 damage. So yeah, 2 really annoying people they can turn into. Superman's probably the better one because he's got like a super duper pulse wave. And then besides that, they also have the Superman team abilities. So when they're KO'd, you have a chance of bringing out the black suit Superman from the Death of Superman set. So it's actually crazy the amount of stuff that they can, bring in off the sideline when they're KO'd or whatever, and the amount of things they get for free that they can use for free, like with the mystery cards and the utility belt. So they're just so good. They do so much for 60 points. And I mean, come on, it is Superman and Batman, probably the most iconic duo of all time, except for maybe like Batman and Robin or something. But yeah, they are just the epitome of what a duo figure should be right now. And I hope we get to see more really awesome figures like this moving forward. I honestly don't see how anything else could take the #1 spot now or in the future. So like I said, I want to revisit this list in the future, and we'll see if these guys are still the kings. So obviously, for all those reasons, that's why they're coming in at #1. All right, you guys, so that does it for my top 5 list, but I'd like to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite duo figure is, and if you enjoyed the video or got anything out of it, don't forget to smash that like button because it does help me out a lot. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. But if you'd like to help support the channel even more, you can check the links in the description for our Patreon, or hit the join button down there for the YouTube memberships. Either way, for as little as $1 a month, you can be entered into our monthly giveaways and see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. So if that interests you at all, make sure to check that out. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Till next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.